Hi everyone, this side Saniya Singh, and my topic for the day is mastering geospatial UI UX design with Figma. So, to understand, what is geospatial UI UX all about, let's first understand what is UI UX. So, UI stands for user interface and it deals with the layouts, the buttons, the frames, or the little checkbooks, which we see and tick. Those are all UI. And UX stands for user experience. So basically, in Figma, we are, involving wireframing, prototyping. So maybe it basically deals with, user testing and how seamlessly our program is running. So that's the main purpose or the goal, of UX. Since we understood the very broad terms UI, UX, yeah, let's dive, a little more deeper into what geospatial UI, UX is all about. So when we're talking about this in terms of Figma, what we mean is to create intuitive or you may be engaging map-based applications. So it's about how we are able to connect map with Figma and do something fun, maybe crazy together. It's about that. And to maybe understand a bit better about what this all is about, we have to get through our further slides to understand that better. So let's understand the importance of geospatial UI UX. So there are three most important things. The first, perception or intuitiveness. Next is the readability, and third is the design. So these are the key aspects. To understand this better, maybe let's walk through a story. How does that sound? So there was this girl named Sarah. She decides to go on a hike with her friends. Okay. And at the time when they're going on a hike, she just randomly downloads a geospatial some app related on the Play Store, which she could find. The moment she opens, she finds it very cool and very easy. And then she felt very familiar with the layout. She just went to the trail section, clicked it, and she was able to see the nearby hikes. So that is the first topic which we are talking about, perception, to make it user friendly and making the navigation very smooth, like how she was just able to get the details of other hikes and other stuffs. So that was the first topic. And then going back into the story, she decided to, after a long hike, she decided to find some waterfalls nearby, or maybe some restaurants, or anything else, places, or see, the blue, greens, and everything. So she was able to locate that with the help of symbols, colors, and some beautiful icons. She was able to understand that. So, what does that do? That enhances the readability. So, she was able to identify the waterfalls, she was able to find the restaurants or anything of that sort. That is our second thing. That was the readability. And later, when she decided just to play around with the map, she decided to zoom in, zoom out, go by to other places and find, maybe more hikes, what are the different areas, or what else is there. And she found it very easy and simple. And the map used to load so quick and very easy to use, and she was able to navigate from one place to another by just staying at one place. So that talks about our third most important thing, that is design. So being able to easily zoom in and zoom out, and yeah, the way we were able to engage with the data very easily and made it more interesting for Sarah to stay back. Let's talk about, we discussed about the importance of this. Now let's discuss what are the issues we can face over this. So the first and the important issue is Since we are dealing with maps, and it's no joke, we are not dealing with some random screenshot. We are dealing with apps. Oh my god. They are huge as, I guess, I don't know. And managing those big data set, and when we have larger data set, our performance just decreases. They are just anti-related. So the larger your data set gets, the slower your performance usually gets. So to ensure the interaction is smooth is one of the biggest issues. Second is, designing interfaces, that adjust to the screen sizes. For example, if I'm using a phone or if I switch back to a tablet or a laptop, it should be responsive in no matter what device I'm using. And also the important features like, the search bars or something else should be there and visible or should not be compromised based on the screen size. This is the second issue which usually can happen. The third is, making complex geospatial data easy to understand by, adding clear visuals, making it user friendly so that people, like how when Sarah walked through the previous app, she was having fun. She did not find it, oh my god, how am I gonna figure it out? She had fun with that. So making sure the people do not get overwhelmed is a very important thing. And we also have to ensure that it's a one-stop solution for all, no matter it is visual or people with motor impairments. Everyone should be able to access this. And building in flexibilities for users, like, there are areas where you will have poor network and, things will load. So to ensure that our app or the thing is working just fine is a big major drawbacks. So these are some of the issues that we can face. Next, let's see since we discuss about the issues, let's see some of our strengths, at least when it comes to Figma. The first, which we are talking about, is map overlays. So, what are map overlays is basically on one map, you're able to view various types of data, like multiple datas on one map, like whether it may be population group of certain area or might be weather patterns of another, or maybe just topographical features. But we were able to see that. That is one of the strengths. Second is the data layers. So the purpose of this is, keeping it very constrained information. Like for example, if I wanna only show particular or you wanna highlight only particular piece of information, so I can do that through data layers. I can highlight some particular information, hide some particular information. So that is what is capable with data layers. And the third is making components. Okay, so we can make interactive element design, like click through buttons, sliders, or other interactive pieces, so that keeps relevant information. For example, I'm making components and then I'm adding them as, you know giving them a prototyping them with some other ping so that they add as pop-up notification. So this makes the element or design very interactive or very fun to use. Next is local variable. This is also very important. We use different types, we make variables so that controls the visibility of different map layers based on the user selection. So basically we can manipulate the way the map layer or what should be seen or how it should be seen. That control we get with local variables. And it also tests how data updates or it affects the UI by changing the variable values. We can just play fun tests with the variable values, and we can see in real time prototype testing that how things are getting actually affected by it. So that's a fun thing to do. And these are some of the Figma geospatial course trends. Let's move to the next part, that is, you know, prototyping. What is prototyping? Prototyping in Figma is allowing a user to test, recheck our design before sending it to development. For example, I have made some design, so now I can prototype on. For example, I'm making a design for an iPhone, so I'm using an iPhone frame, and then later I can prototype it and then see how it will be visible on an iPhone screen. How are things working? For example, this button is supposed to do with this, so if I click this is supposed to go to the next page. So I can just wireframe that, and when I'm prototyping I can see that, oh, if I click this is how it's going to work. It's like, mm, we're not exactly doing development and everything, but it's just like easier way of seeing things how it is supposed to work out if we are building that. So that helps a lot in understanding our product, giving us a reality check how far our product is going and how it can be made. And we also share prototypes with the leaders or the senior folks to gather some good insights or feedbacks so that we can get back to our design process, leading to better, or maybe the best results. And then we go through all our design based on the feedback, and we again do user testings, so we are ensuring we are only giving the best, effective, and a seamless, great final product. So that is what reassurance we have to do. Next, our thing is we are going to be talking about designing for multi-screen experiences. So let me design the map interface to be responsive for every screen and resolution needed. It is very important designing that, making sure that the other, like previously I told, like we should make sure that just because the screen size of a mobile is smaller than the laptop doesn't mean the important features needs to be compromised. So we have to have a basic user research key what and all are the necessary things and what should be there and where it should be. So that is very important for us. We should be able to utilize Figma's multi-screen capabilities to design consistent and appealing user experience on a broad display setups. We should also be, that means using frames and components tailored for multi-screen configurations, so that we are ensuring that our design elements they adjust seamlessly without creating any problem, and maintaining visual and maybe functional consistencies to enhance user is familiar to what is happening or what is even going on, regardless of the device use. They just know, yes, this is convenient, this they should feel familiar. That's when they stay. That's a very important thing, to make them feel familiar. And we have to also take in consideration the effect of, if we are choosing different screen size and orientation on layout, how different layouts on navigation is going to be affected on one screen to maybe considering to another. How is that going to be happening? Because that is very important. If we are going from one frame to another frame, or we are just switching from smartphone to laptop, that things don't get affected. It is very important to ensure that. uh, Next, if we are talking about design in action, let's talk about design buttons. So first thing is making design buttons. So we are implementing certain actions. So we make some plain buttons, or some clickable items. So and we give them certain actions. So we are basically doing wireframing. So if I do this, this is gonna be ensured. So for example, I'm gonna create a circle, and then I'm gonna act it as a ping so that whenever I open that, it's gonna give a pop-up of different location or the particular location. Okay, so this is the name and the photo of the location and how far is that. So that gives us a more precise data, but it also only gives us the data which is only valid. For example, I'm clicking on a ping related to a cafe. So it will give me a pop-up notification only of the place that I have clicked. So it gives very crucial, concise, and very relatable thing. Not everything, like the data is not all over the place or giving anything it wants. We are just focusing on what actually needs to be there. And whenever we are zooming in on an area of particular interest, we are able to provide more data. That's what we talked about. And we can also make use of sliders so that we can control, you know, how much information is needed. Like we are able to filter the information that is given on the map when we are zooming in, zoom out, how much toggle we have to do, and how much intimate control over the information. See, if we are able to filter information when how the user wants, the user feels connected to that, and it only feels like, yeah, it is only giving me the things how much I require. So that is very important, since we are making the user feel that it's only built for them. That's make them more interested to stay, because it's not very general, it gets very specific, and being specific is very important. It's like validating the user that, yeah, it's just for you, which is very important. And let's talk about the project which I made. So this is a map which I made. So what I used here is a map. I took a map screenshot of, from a plugin of, and then later after using the plugin, and then I placed it over the phone, and then I added the map, then I made some pings, and then I added components. So these are, the components I made. So whenever I click on them, there is shows the name, picture of that, and how far is that location. So this basically gives only concise, and I told about how we are going to give the pop-up of certain information. So it gives only very concise and, very important information which is only required. And then I can go through the map, and for example I click on this, and then it's giving me the information now about the thing, that's the chocolate factory. So how far that is in this. So basically what we have did here, we have made components, we had added a map over here, and we did some proto wireframing with the pins, and we just attached the maps, the components with it. um, this is what we have done. So it's a very small project, to show a better experience of what I was telling all along. This is a small view, or something you can say of that sort. You are able to understand what actually I did. So now what are the takeaways we get from here? See, Figma is a very great tool when it comes to designing user interfaces for geospatial application, and it's just not limited to geospatial applications. It is limited to it is way more than that. It creates the best UI UX. It's the best platform for that. And prototyping in Figma help us to experiment, iterate on the design concepts. So it's like making the designer understands how real your product can get, and how real it is, and is that even possible, or it's just all up in our head. So it gives a very clear view of how, a clear picture of how things are supposed to be and how things are. And the second thing is multi screen design is important for delivering a very consistent experience on many different screens. Like, it's very important. You never know your user is using phone or they might be using a laptop to check up on a location. You never know. So we should make sure that it is multi-user and it is multi-screen design so that no screen is, is able to hold that, is everyone is able to go through that, and making interactive components improves the improvement, and it helps the user to navigate data more efficiently. Like, for example, I showed you through the mini project I made that when I just click on it, hover on it, I was able to see the concise information of the particular location I only chose. Like when I chose only the chocolate factory, I was only able to see the information related to the chocolate factory, not anything else. So that is very important because when you're zooming in, I am pressing on something that I want to only see the information related to that. So making a user feel that we are only giving relevant information according to what they need is very important, because there's so many information in the market, but that is having too much information is also not a very good thing. So having only relevant information is very important. It helps us create a better UI user experience. So yes, these are the few takeaways I would say. And at last, I would like to say thank you. I know geospatial UI UX is a little different topic, but I hope you liked the part on how we could do that on a Figma, and I hope that you like it.